So I recently saw Star Trek again, an awesome event called Star Trek in Concert. It was an event that took place at the Royal Albert Hall in London, England, where they basically project the film and have a full live orchestra playing the score in sync to the movie. I realise there's no real reason to do a retrospective on this movie, we're still some months off from the 10-year anniversary, and Trek's not massively in vogue at the moment, so I doubt this will explode over YouTube. But this is my channel, I can do whatever I want!
If you do not listen, then the hell with you!
Actually, no, please stay. I need you and your validation. I promise there will be some videos on reality TV and Doctor Who and video games coming right up. Let me start off this Trek Jerkfest by saying that this is how you do a reboot. I find the way they use time travel is nothing short of genius. The events of this movie take place partly in the original Trek universe, starting all the way back in 1966 through to Star Trek Nemesis in 2002, and features the very same Spock from that world in the story. But through the events in which he travels back in time and changes the course of past events, it creates a new timeline, completely separate from everything that came before. The movie thereby exists both in the world of Trek that fans knew, whilst also being a hard reboot of the franchise. It's an excellent idea, and it's no wonder they used the exact same template and story structure for X-Men Days of Future Past, which is also a decent movie, I'm not hating. Chris Pine and Zachary Quinto really anchor this movie. Pine is charming as Kirk, he's funny, and even when he's being a complete arse to people, he does it with the best of intentions. And the fact that Quinto is playing a character whose defining trait is his suppression of emotions, yet still manages to get you invested in his narrative, is a testament to the subtlety and intensity of his performance. In some respects, Quinto had a harder job than Pine, as he's being directly compared to his predecessor, the late Leonard Nimoy, in the very same movie. Yet neither outshine the other or feel incongruent to the character as a whole. With both Kirk and Spock, I never once feel like I'm missing the original versions of these characters. It's probably been said a million times, but they really do make these roles their own. Also, big shout out to both Nimoy and Quinto for making a bowl cut work. I mean, look at that thing, look at it! How does it somehow avoid looking absolutely ridiculous? How can I watch entire scenes of them without glancing at that haircut constantly? That's the power of acting, guys. That is the power of acting. This is undoubtedly Michael Giacchino's best score, and probably also the best usage of his work within any of his films. As I said, going to Star Trek in Concert was brilliant, and hearing the score stand out amongst the sound mix via a live orchestra really gives you a newfound appreciation for all the hard work and detail that went into these tracks. The way in which that main theme is used to punctuate such epic moments is nothing short of breathtaking. My two standout moments have to be the first time we see the finished Enterprise, and when Nero's ship, the Narada, is blown to bits as it descends into the black hole, killing him and his crew. If you've ever seen the Nerdwriter's video essay on scenes versus moments under the critical eye of Batman v Superman, and let's be honest, you probably have, he talks about how moments are useless and ineffectual without the scenes to contextualize them.
The scene is where awe is loaded into the chamber. Firing the gun without loading can only result in empty noise, a bang, but no impact.
Well, I always feel like a perfect example of the way scenes complement great moments is this movie. These two moments I just mentioned, they would be nothing without the excellent plotting and character work that sets them up. Nero doesn't get an awful lot of screen time, but Eric Bana imbues the character with so much raw anger and drive that I find it impossible not to be fully invested in this guy. I love how his plan and actions work well within the context of his working class, blue-collar background. He's a manual labourer without the kind of luxurious education and resources members of Starfleet are entitled to. All he has left is his crew and his ship, and that's been his life. All he knows how to do is mine, so of course he wouldn't want to break bread and talk diplomacy with some dickhead in an Apple Store white captain's chair, and that's not going to fix his situation or give him retribution for the tragedy that has befallen him. And it shows Starfleet as a fallible organisation, in a way that is, in my opinion, better executed than in both of the sequels that touch on similar themes. Conversely, his relationship to the heroes gives us more than enough cause to hate him. He murdered Kirk's father and kills countless members of his accompanying crew. He destroys Spock's entire world in a fit of revenge for something that Nimoy's Spock tried to prevent, the destruction of Nero's homeworld in the original timeline. You get a villain that is so blinded by hatred, so consumed by what he feels needs to be done, that you at times almost want to see him succeed just to see what happens. And even at the brink of death, he still sticks to his guns.
I would rather suffer the end of Romulus 1,000 times. I would rather die in agony than accept assistance from you.
You got it. You've got to stick to your principles.
There's a great mixture of set pieces throughout the movie. You get pretty much everything you'd want from a space opera. There's planet-wide destruction, gigantic monsters, shootouts, ship-to-ship combat that's really, really well done. On that note, how good is the opening scene? It establishes the might of Nero so well. This guy decimates the Kelvin. We get a great emotional hook with Kirk's parents and a real sense of tragedy within the first few minutes. This opening has got everything. Spectacle, heart, terror, excitement. It's the perfect way to kick off a blockbuster with genuine stakes and thrust to the story. I think the opening to Infinity War works so well because it ticks a lot of the same boxes the opening to Star Trek does. These films know that you want spectacle, but never at the expense of making you feel something. And that's what I think is really the crux of why Star Trek works so damn well. I really care about these characters. They go through struggles, they strive hard to succeed, but they're also incredibly flawed. They don't always do the right thing, and they learn from this. It's a good thing to see characters screw things up. I really wish J.J. Abrams would return to Trek rather than Wars, in all honesty. I like The Force Awakens, but we all know it plays it a little too safe. Star Trek might have pissed off some purists, but it took chances and tried to move the franchise in a bold direction. Abrams is just a little too close to Wars emotionally, I think. He was never a true Trek fan before he came on board, and I think that really allowed him to give the film room to breathe. And on the subject of behind the scenes figures who helped bring this to life, Roberto Orci and Alex Kurtzman, this is easily the best script they have ever produced. Not that, in the grand scheme of things, that's saying too much, as they have produced these stinkers. I don't think the sequels ever lived up to the first outing, but that's a video for another day. For now, I just want to say that, for me, Star Trek is a science fiction classic, and if you haven't seen it, but you're a fan of the genre, absolutely go and check it out. Goodbye, old friend, and may the Force be with you. This week's video is edited by Tara Jennett. If you'd like to see more from Full Fat videos, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And of course, keep drinking some full fat milk.